Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhevyacha Patitanan pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much for coming this evening to participate in Harinam Sankirtan, especially on this night of Sri Krishna Rasa Yatra. Now, I spoke today to two friends of mine who are spiritual authorities, and I was saying, what is the difference between Sharadiya Rasa and Sri Krishna Rasa Yatra? And both of them are like very knowledgeable people, and both of them said, I don't know. The important thing, though, is that we have Shraddha and faith in the words of our spiritual masters, that we have Shraddha and faith in the Sri Guru Parampara, and that we have Shraddha and faith in Vaishnavas, in the Holy Shastras. And then we hear about these pastimes, we read about these pastimes, learned devotional Vaishnavas explain this to us, and then there can be an awakening within our hearts. And this is really what we're looking for. We're looking for a blossoming of emotion. We're looking for a blossoming of bhav. We're looking for true feelings of love for Radhesham. And yeah, it's really important that we always hanker for that day to come when divine grace is bestowed upon us. We have all read the poetry of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or Narottam Das Thakur, one of them, Bhaktivinoda. He's written, Kabhi Habhi Bolo Se Din Amar. When will that day come? When will that blessed day come when the Lord bestows divine grace upon us? So in the life of the devotee, we have different positions. We know that there's Adal Shraddha, Tata Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya. The whole process begins with Shraddha. And that Shraddha gives us the association of Vaishnavas who instruct us in how to perform devotional practices that will begin to cleanse the heart of anarthas and unwanted things. And after performing this Bhajana Kriya, then we come to the position of steadiness in bhakti. Then we come to the position of taste in bhakti. And then we become to this position of full attachment to Krishna. And many of disciples of mine have heard me say this before, and perhaps others have heard me say this, others have read it. But the stage of attachment is the last position of our sadhana in this world before attaining perfection. And at that stage of attachment to Krishna, we are practically madmen and mad ladies. All we can live for is Krishna. All we want is the happiness of Krishna. All we desire is to serve Krishna in some positive and favorable way. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has made this statement, which maybe many of you have heard me say before, but he says that at the position of Ashakti, then the mirror of your heart becomes so perfectly cleansed. You know, go back to Cheto Darpana Marjanam. The process is cleaning the mirror of the consciousness. At the position of Ashakti, your heart becomes so perfectly cleansed that when you look into that mirror of your heart, and you're looking and looking and looking, Krishna starts to look back at you. And then truly, we become mad and madder for Krishna. And Krishna tells us in the Bhagavad Gita, Jai jatamam prapadyante tangs tataiva vijamyaham. He says, as they approach me, I reciprocate with them. So when we're fully finished with material life, and when we're fully attached to Krishna, then Krishna bestows his divine mercy, and that is perfection, or bhav bhakti. It's important to understand that we have our devotional practices that we carry on very carefully, our chanting and our reading and our seva. We carry on these things, and the more we're chanting Hare Krishna and the more we're reading, the more eagerness starts to burn our heart to be with Krishna. But despite all of our activities, it's not by us that we step into spiritual existence. It's not by our efforts alone, but we have to understand it is the divine grace of Sri Krishna. Lord Krishna allows his internal potencies to descend from the spiritual sky to our hearts, and then everything material becomes finished. Just like Rupa Goswami has told us, Sarva upadi vinirmuktam tatparatena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti puchite. That all of the different material conceptions which we have, all of this I-ness that we have, it will be finished by the grace of Krishna. Sarva upadiva nirmuktam tatparatena nirmalam. Then the heart becomes perfect and pure. And then the mercy flows. We wait our whole lifetime waiting for that divine penny to fall down from heaven. And when Krishna bestows his mercy in the form of bhav bhakti, that is the beginning of our real devotional service. It is called perfection, but at the same time, bhav bhakti is just the first ray of light of prema bhakti that shines into the heart of the devotee. Just one, it's like a single ray. Right now sun is coming up much later over here in Vrindavan. And it's dark and dark and dark, and then one ray of light comes through, and illumination begins until the sun rises into the sky, and it's midday, high noon, and then everything becomes illuminated. So this bhava is perfection, but it's not the end. Then we will continue hearing and chanting in the association of Vaishnavas and hankering, Kabhi Habi Bolo, Sedin Amar. When will that day come? Except in that situation, we'll have different association. And in that situation, we'll be associating with Krishna's perfect people. And they will be teaching us how to serve perfectly. And we will keep serving and serving and serving, and the prema will grow and grow and grow. It's very important that we keep serving even at bhav bhakti, because at bhav bhakti, still within the heart, there is a residue or aroma of the fact that once anarthas were there. So we keep serving. Like we've given the example this last winter, we had our house renovated. They painted everything inside. And then sometime maybe May, I moved into the house. And for like 1-2 months, you could smell the aroma of paint. The painters weren't there. The paint cans weren't there. But the aroma was remaining. So even at bhav bhakti, there's the aroma within the heart. One time Anartha was there, unwanted things. things were there. But what will burn that will be Krishna Prema Bhakti. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has told us that Krishna's Prema Bhakti is more brilliant than gold, which has been burnt in the fire 1,000,000 times. Gold in its original form, straight from the earth, is not very pretty. But they burn it, and they burn it, and they burn it until all the impurities go out. So when we receive Krishna's Prema Pumarto Mahan, that is the highest goal of life. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, hope for it, aspire for it, even though our bodies may be giving us difficulties, even though our minds may be difficulty, even though we may have problems with our work, we may have this problem or that problem, always within your heart, think of yourself as a loving servant of Sri Krishna. When Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, when they were serving Hussain Shah, they heard of the great mercy and the Prema Bhakti of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they wrote him letters. And Lord Chaitanya responded to his letters. And in one letter, he wrote a sonnet. He said that when a married lady has a lover other than her husband, then she performs all of her duties in her homes super excellently so that she won't be found out. But within her heart, she's only thinking of one thing: when will I again join my beloved? So in the same way we're doing our duties within this world, and we all have various duties. Some of you are mothers, and some of you are businessmen, and some of you are the whole gamut of activity. But despite that, always within your heart, always just pray, when will I again be able to be with my beloved? When will I serve Sri Radha, and she will bestow upon me the merciful service of Sri Krishna? And hanker and pray to it, and it will come. Maybe it will take a little time, but just do it and it will come. It's like I was speaking to my dear friend Balaram Baba. He was telling me, my Guru Maharaj, he was yogi. But he saw me, he said, no, you're not strong for yoga. He said, you must do bhakti. He said, you should do kirtan. You should do Bhagavatam, Ramayan. You do Ramnam, Krishna Nam. You do seva to sadhus. And now, Balaram Baba, parents, please take care of your children. Now Balaram Baba, every day he's feeding 500 people or more. The other day, he had a wedding ceremony for 100 poor people. He does that every year. He finds the poorest of the poor, because everybody at wedding time, they have to receive some gifts, this, that, and the other. And just for the wedding ceremony the other day, it was like 75 lakhs of rupees, like that. He didn't ask for anyone. He didn't ask anyone for Lakshmi or money. But his Guru Maharaj said, don't worry. You just stay fixed. Radharani will help you. So we should remain fixed. We should remain fixed in Nama, in Seva, in Bhagavatam, and residing here if possible, and just patiently waiting for that divine penny to drop. And Srila Prabhupada said, when that day comes when true emotion is awakened within the heart, and we feel ourselves to be the true lovers of Krishna, we will think there is no other person in this world as fortunate as I. Okay, we have to finish in 15 minutes. Balaram Baba said, you break kirtan 9 o'clock. 15 minutes cleaning, serving prasadam after that. So we will chant for 15 minutes. Everybody please pray with all of your heart to Radha and Krishna. This is Rasa Yatra. That one day you can join them in their rasa dance and you can do seva there. We can sing for them. They're dancing tonight. Let's sing for Radhe Shyam as they're performing their rasa. Let's sing something happy. Sing something happy so that Radhe Shyam will dance very beautifully, and just keep the mind fixed in Radhe Shyam. Okay, Hare Krishna. Let's do Shiva Ram Swami Pali because we only have 15 minutes. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Radhe Shyam. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Radhe Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Nacho, Nacho. Radhe. Everybody dance. Everybody dance with Radhe Shyam. Everybody dance. Everybody dance. Hello.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Everybody. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Gaur Premanande, Nithai Gaur Premanande. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. Harinam Sankirtan Jagya ki, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki, Gopremanandi. Okay, everyone, please pay careful attention. I won't ask you to sit down because I'll have to ask you to get right back up because we have to put everything away very, very quickly so Maharaj can start serving prasadam at 9:15. Today's feast has been sponsored on Sri Krishna Rasa Yatra by Pratik Desai and his wife Urmila and the devotees of Punjabi Bagh Temple in Delhi. Let's give them all Vaishnava blessings. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.